Turn your dress shirt inside out and then put it back on, being sure to button it up. We're gonna take 8 clothespins and put 4 on each side, starting at the very bottom. Go ahead and put that first pin at the bottom by pinching the side by about 1/2 inch to an inch, or 12 to 25 millimeters to start. And then pinch your side seam directly opposite of that first clothespin and determine how much you wanna take off based on, how it feels. Is it comfortable? Is it not comfortable? Does it feel like a sausage casing? Put the next 2 pins each above your hips and then your mid-torso. I think you should subscribe. Pinch and kind of feel for these as well to see what you like. Now, take off less than you think to accommodate for those darts that we're putting in. Otherwise, the sides might fit fine, but then adding darts is gonna make it way too tight. Move around a bit and see how your dress shirt feels. Does it feel too tight? Well, then move the pins out a little bit. Too loose? Well, we can fix that later if we need. That's some slight foreshadowing there. If you are slimming the sleeves, then pinch and feel with the clothespins for those as well. Do the flex test with your arm, bro. Sleeves are really easy to mess up, so make sure that you still have good mobility with that new fit. I mean, you don't want to rip out of that thing like Hulk Hogan at the RNC, do you? I'd like to say I was surprised, but I wasn't. Now, your clothespins are gonna look a little bit janky and your shirt might be kind of stuffed inside of them. That's okay, because they're just placeholders to give us a good starting point. Take that good old fabric marker or whatever it is that you're using to mark where the end of that clothespin hits. Now, I'm doing the other side of my shirt because that's the side that I want to sew, but either side is totally fine. It doesn't matter. When you're marking, you can do just enough to be able to see it lightly. It doesn't have to be super thick at all. This dress shirt has what's called a flat fell seam. Totally okay. Just iron it down so it's nice and crisp. It's a lot easier to work with then. Now those light marks that we made, yeah, they're kind of rudimentary to say the least, so we're gonna even them out and make them a little more accurate. Measure the entire length of your dress shirt from the bottom to under your armpit seam. Mine is 17 inches or 43 centimeters. Grab a pen and paper to write down how far in those marks are on your shirt. If it isn't an exact number, then I'd suggest rounding to the nearest quarter, but that's just me. I like simplicity and simple numbers. Fun fact, I was gonna write all of this on a pad of Post-it notes that I had, but my son stole them and I have no idea where they are now. So I had to grab a random piece of scrap paper. Hashtag dad life. Now, since our pin marks are at arbitrary spots, let's make them more precise. Start at the bottom and put a sewing pin at 2 inches or 5 centimeters, 6 inches or 15 centimeters, 10 inches or 25 centimeters, 14 inches or 35 centimeters. I'm so good at the metric system. Oh, and I'm putting one more at 17 inches or 43 centimeters. Since your shirt is going to be a different length, just do your best to get that last pin about 1 inch or 2 centimeters away from your underarm seam. Now, depending on where your marks are, round to the nearest quarter or to 1/2 inch or 6 to 12 millimeters. That way, things are more even and accurate and repeatable on other shirts of a similar size. Hint, hint. I'll put how much I'm altering my shirt by on the screen and in the description, but whatever your measurements are, write them down. So if you get a shirt of a similar size, you can just insert these measurements and, well, be done with it. You can skip all of this. It's so dope. If you are tapering the sleeves, then put your first sewing pin about 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters down your sleeve. Connect your last body pin to the first pin on your sleeve at a 50-degree angle. That's gonna make it so that your dress shirt sits all nice and flat in your armpit and doesn't give you bat wings. Ask me how I know. Holy crap, I can't sing. When tapering your sleeves, you wanna end your taper about 2 inches or 5 centimeters from the end so you can still roll your sleeves up. That's another ask me how I know moment. All right, let's try it on and let's see how we feel about the fit. This is okay. We can do better than this. But it's better to take off less than you want and fix it later though, so this totally works out in the end. More foreshadowing. I put my pins on opposite sides of my shirt, so that way it's way easier to run it through my sewing machine. And oh man, look at that aggressive taper. Holy s***. Here is a closer shot of how you want the body and the sleeve pins to meet. Once you get to that pin on your sleeve, you want to be dancing right on the edge and have your taper finished too. Use these settings on your sewing machine, which I'll also put down in the description for you. We're just using a normal straight stitch set at 2.5 and a universal needle and some polyester thread. Any used sewing machine that you find on Facebook Marketplace for like 50 bucks will do the job. Start off with a back stitch to lock in that stitch when you start, and go slow. Go as slow as you need to. This isn't a race at all. My taper is super aggressive, so I'm gonna have to make some pretty sharp adjustments after every pin, that's for sure. I honestly don't remember the last time I had to be this aggressive with my tapering. I don't really know how I feel about it. If you're sewing the sleeves, just keep going, connecting those next 2 pins. Otherwise, just work your way back out to the edge of your stitch right under that armpit seam. Holy Lord, look at this insanity. It's almost like a U shape. Jeez. Cut off that extra fabric and finish that raw edge, either with some pinking shears or a zigzag stitch. Both are gonna prevent our hard work from fraying on us in the washing machine. And if you choose the zigzag stitch, those settings are down in the description for you, as well as a tutorial video, probably. Y'all, this is what we got. It is way better in the front, but we still have all this extra fabric around our lower back. Now, it's really hard to fix that by taking in the side seams, so that's where darts are gonna come in clutch, unlike the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs. Oh, and I guess we can add the Timberwolves to that list now too. Great. Lay that mofo back out, inside out, and spread it out like you're spreading, I don't know, something. Measure the back of your shirt from underneath each armpit seam. My shirt is 24.5 inches, almost 25 inches, or 63 centimeters. Now that's really wide. Normally I start my darts 7 inches or 17 centimeters from the sides, but since this shirt is so wide, I'm gonna be doing 8 inches or 20 centimeters to make sure that my darts are closer to the middle of my lower back. Put a sewing pin at each of those 2 spots, and then another one straight down from each of those spots, so 4 total. Man, the lines on my shirt make this way easier. And awesome, my lights ran out of battery. Great. All right, I let them charge for a little bit and we're back in action. Turn your shirt to the side and grab that top and bottom pin and pull up. You see that line that you're making right there? Yeah, that's gonna be your dart, bro. Iron it down so it's nice and crispy. And if I can iron darts with one hand, you can do all of this, no problem. Just saying. Put your sewing pin in there too. Well, try to, at least, to keep your fold in place. These big old white and purple tongue-looking things need some fixing. Just all flapping like la, 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 la. Make sure your bottom pin is about 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters up. Now, including the bottom pin and the top pin, add 3 more sewing pins in the middle in 5-inch or 12 centimeter increments. These right here are my usual measurements for darts, and they've worked fantastically until now. You'll see. I'll put those in the description too if you want to try them. Start your bottom 3 pins between 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch or 6 to 12 millimeters to gauge the fit. Then, as you get to the next pin, you want to taper it out since your body is, well, it's wider there. And that top pin, it's just a placeholder. That's the very end of our dart. So between the second to last and that last pin, you want to taper all the way to the edge and be completely done by the time you get to that last pin. Try it on, see how it feels with those pins in. And as a heads up, this catches guys off guard all the time because they think that because their shirt is touching their lower back that it's too tight. But dude, it's not. It's just the first time in your life that you've had a dress shirt that fits you properly. But that being said, if you don't like something, then shift the pins around. Your dress shirt, your choice, bro. We're using the same settings as before on our sewing machine. Now start off with a back stitch to lock it in again and just sew straight up for those first 3 pins. Yo, once you've got darts all set up, they're even easier to sew than taking in the side seams, seriously. Remember, between the second to last and that last pin, we want to taper all the way out and be done. So go slow and ease your way to the edge. You want to be dancing right on that edge like a tightrope by that last pin. Once you get there, backstitch once, maybe twice to avoid any puckering. Those flappy tongues are now looking like this. Nice contouring darts. You don't need to cut them off, but you do want to cut off that extra thread. Give them an iron to flatten everything down and then try it on. I don't know. I still think that I could do better, so I did. I took off another 1/2 inch from the side seams and 1/2 inch from those bottom 3 pins on my darts. I had my straight stitch meet up with my original dart stitch, and that was it. I don't even think I measured. I just eyeballed it. Done in a couple of minutes with a fit that I really wanted. It's that easy. In the next video, I'll show you how to hem your dress pants by hand. That's easy too. I'll see you over there. SD out. Deuces.